The next thing we're going to talk about is fractions. Fractions is something that you've already seen some videos on. We have 4 main categories of fractions, with the first one being just being able to identify and label fractions. And they should be able to do denominators in 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8. They will see some SchoolNet that has some different numbers other than that, but fractions is basically taking a shape and cutting it into pieces and representing those pieces into a numerator and denominator. And the numerator is basically the number of shaded pieces, and the denominator is basically the number of total pieces, as you can see from the example. And they draw it out and they work on word problems and talk about fractions. I often tell them the best way to think about fractions is to think about cutting a pizza or cutting a cake for their birthday. And if they had to cut it and share it, how would they do that? One of the major things that I've talked to them about fractions is it has to be equal pieces. If you're cutting something, you need equal pieces, because obviously if you were, say, at a birthday party, you're not going to give one person a big piece and another person a small piece. But I have done some videos with the other types of fractions, and I just wanted to run through them again real quickly. The second kind of fractions is fractions on a length model, or fractions on a number line. I did some very specific drawings of fractions on a number line. Same concept as regular fractions and drawing shapes, except for this time you are literally dividing up a number line. And you'll notice that a lot of things that we do in 3rd grade require a number line. And a lot of questions, actually, the demonstration of those questions come with a number line model of some sort, and several different goals. The number line takes place also in our elapsed time that we're going to talk about. But that is fractions on a number line. And then they have equivalent fractions, and that they're just checking to see if those fractions are equal. And when they do equivalent fractions, you're going to hear them refer to the butterfly method. And I did show an example of that butterfly method in another video on equivalent fractions. And the last one is comparing fractions, and that is where they use the greater than, less than, and equal to symbol. I remind them that the mouth points to the bigger number. And fractions work a little bit differently as far as when they have 2 fractions with the same denominator. It's kind of easy to compare fractions with the same denominator, because the bigger the numerator, the bigger the piece. But when you have fractions with different denominators, the bigger the denominator, the smaller the piece. Think about it this way. If you have a birthday cake that you cut into 2 pieces, those are 2 great big pieces. The number 2 is a small number, but the fraction is a bigger piece. If you have the same birthday cake, same size, cut into 4 pieces, the pieces become smaller. The number 4 is bigger, but the actual pieces become smaller. So the bigger the number of the denominator, the smaller the piece. I hope this helps on fractions.